Sonic has had a rough time in 3D. So begins every single review of a 3D Sonic game. Even I'm guilty of this. But this phrase has been used to hurt every 3D Sonic game and made a ton of people not even think about giving the blue blur a chance. This has even affected the highest rated 3D Sonic game of all time, Sonic Adventure 2. People have gone back and forth complaining about how annoying the gameplay is on all of the non-Sonic levels, and how the story makes no sense with its nonsensical plot points and awful dubbing. But I think that's because these people only played the game one time through, because from my experience, completing this game makes everything about it better. Hopefully you'll see what I mean when I recomplete Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Completionist New Game Plus, where I recomplete the first 120 episodes I featured here on the channel. More on them in the box down below. I'm excited to jump back in what is definitely my favorite 3D Sonic game of all time. Sonic Adventure 2 is peak Sonic for me, so please consider this episode of the Blue Blur a tribute to all of you fans out there who really love this game. Let's begin. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I love his attitude, I love his speed, I love the fact that he's blue. Heck, I even love his breakdancing. There is no doubt that Sonic is cool, and he was never cooler than he was in Sonic Adventure 2. In fact, this is the Sonic the Hedgehog I think of when I think of Sonic the Hedgehog. But Sonic Adventure 2 is more than just my favorite 3D Sonic game ever. It marks an important time in video game history. For those youngins who don't know, the most bitter rival Nintendo ever had wasn't Sony and it wasn't Xbox. It was SEGA. In fact, SEGA developed Sonic so that he could go head to head against everyone's favorite plumber. And it worked for a while. SEGA, with the help of Sonic, were fighting blow for blow with Nintendo. But it didn't last long. SEGA made a lot of mistakes leading up to the Dreamcast and eventually had to give up on manufacturing consoles altogether. 3 months after the decision to discontinue the Dreamcast, Sonic Adventure 2 was released. And here's the thing, people loved it. It had one of the best soundtracks in video game history, improved on the original Sonic Adventure's graphics and pace, and brought in the idea of having two parallel storylines, Hero and Dark. The Hero storyline was all about Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, while the Dark storyline focused on Dr. Eggman and newcomers Shadow the Hedgehog and Rouge the Bat. The Hero story starts with Sonic being captured by the US military. He then leaps out of the helicopter, takes a piece of it with him, and snowboards down the streets of San Francisco. After escaping through the city, Sonic runs into Shadow, a black and red hedgehog who has been committing the crimes that Sonic was accused of. Sonic then must team up with Tails and Knuckles to collect the 7 Chaos Emeralds and the shards of the Master Emerald in order to stop Shadow and save the world. Meanwhile, in the Dark storyline, Dr. Eggman is raiding a military base to discover the ultimate weapon that his grandfather developed. Turns out, it's Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow then instructs Eggman to help him collect the Chaos Emeralds in order to destroy the world. Rouge the Bat is also there to try and collect the shards of the Master Emerald that she and Knuckles are responsible for breaking apart from the Master Emerald itself. Now, does this sound insane and convoluted? Well, it is, and I love it. This plot is insane, but it fuels all of the epic moments that really make this game. You find yourself going around the world, racing through levels as Sonic and Shadow, treasure hunting for shards as Knuckles and Rouge, and shooting everything you can in mechs as Tails and Dr. Eggman. This provides just enough variety without having to spend time fishing for Froggy. I loved this game, and so did a majority of critics, but despite the critical praise, no sales records were tracked since SEGA had ceased manufacturing the Dreamcast. It looked like this game would be forgotten with the rest of the games that were released after the demise of the Dreamcast. Until 6 months later, when it re-released on the Nintendo GameCube as Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And it did great. That's right, what was once Nintendo's arch enemy was now one of its best-selling games. And it was better than ever. Not only was there an improvement to the graphics, but the game was controlled on a much better controller, and a whole new multiplayer mode was added where you can play any of the story mode levels and even play as some new characters from the original Sonic Adventure game. And still no Big the Cat to be seen. But don't worry for all of you Big the Cat fanatics. He is secretly hidden somewhere in every single level of the game. Even when he's not playable, I can't escape that cute, adorable purple monstrosity. So when I first completed Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the show, it took me a little while. Not because of the difficulty of perfecting all the story levels, but because of the Chaos. For true completion, in my opinion, you have to raise the perfect Chao. This took me 60 hours. Yeah, that's a long time. So I have one main goal for this episode, to complete the Chao raising as quickly as humanly possible. I want to try to not spend over 50 hours this time trying to complete this game. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a landmark game in the history of the console wars. Not only does it represent the fall of one of the biggest gaming companies of all time, but it shows them rising back from the ashes with an exclusive game for a console developed by their rivals. And even though this game may have soured in the eyes of some fans, I still think it's freaking awesome. Today's episode of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is sponsored by G Fuel and their brand new Sonic the Hedgehog Peach Rings flavored limited edition of G Fuel in a can. G Fuel and SEGA have teamed up to bring you guys this peach flavored drink. G Fuel Energy, for those of you who are unaware, partnered with me recently to bring you all different flavors of powdered mixture that you can use to either water or milk. But more recently, G Fuel has been making canned drinks and partnering with developers from all over the world. So, when G Fuel found out that I was doing an episode on Sonic Adventure 2, we knew we had to do some kind of promotional thing with Sonic's Peach Rings. Let's do a live taste right now. I've never tasted this before. I'm gonna see how it is, and I'll let you guys know. Here we go. Whoa! It reminds me a lot of like an iced tea flavored drink. It's really, really crisp with its flavor. I dig this a lot. This has got like a very citrusy vibe to it. It's not citrus flavored, obviously, but you can definitely tell that the citrus combined with peach is what this is all about. I really like this. Holy crap. This is not a bit. This is actually really good. This is, I think, the best G Fuel flavor I've ever had. You know, it's kind of crazy personally thinking about my relationship with G Fuel and Sonic, considering that I've worked with them both individually now. 2020 is a weird year. So if you want to pick up the Sonic the Hedgehog limited edition G Fuel Energy can today, head over to the website on screen right now or in the box down below. And this weekend only, in honor of Sonic the Hedgehog, you can save 20% off your entire order of the Sonic cans and up to 30% off any tub that you decide to go with it using my code Completionist. Thank you to G Fuel once again for sponsoring today's episode of New Game Plus. Now back to the show. This is Knuckles, and I'm back. You know, people have turned on Sonic Adventure 2 over the years, citing how the non-Sonic or Shadow levels really slow down the pace of the game and are a miserable experience. But why? Why do they think this? I think it's because some people may have been playing the game wrong. Sonic Adventure 2 is a game that gets better when you try to complete it. Sonic Adventure 2 demands perfection. It ranks you at the end of every single level from A to E, and you want to get those A rankings in order to earn emblems, the most important collectible in the game. The first time you get this ranking is for getting a high enough score by beating the level as quickly as possible. But that's not all there is. There are still 4 more missions to complete in that level afterwards. The other missions score you on how fast you can collect 100 rings, how fast you can find the lost Chao, your score after beating the level in a certain amount of time via a time trial, and how high a score you can get while beating the level on hard mode. I wouldn't worry about that last one, honestly. Hard mode just means more enemies, which gives you more chances for points. The most difficult, in my opinion, is the time trial one. Each of these requires slightly different tactics in order to get that A rank. In order to execute them effectively, you're going to have to explore every single level. Yes, it's fun to race through the Sonic and Shadow levels, but if you blindly move forward, you're going to miss a ton of alternate paths and chances for big points. It's really fun to figure out the fastest possible route and execute it perfectly. I felt that way when I first completed Sonic Adventure 2, and I still feel that way now. And this is fun in the Tails and Eggman missions as well. Even though these levels are much more linear, I actually enjoy trying to line up as many shots as possible in one go. And while it's still my least favorite of the main story levels, it is incredibly satisfying when you get a really high score on that combo meter. But my favorite levels hands down have got to be the treasure hunting levels with Knuckles and Rouge the Bat. Here you run, fly, and climb around a large area in order to dig for a piece of the Master Emerald or a key. In order to help find them, you have a radar that blinks and changes colors the closer you get to the treasure. And once you find all of them, the level ends. This is often cited as one of the worst parts of the game, and I felt the same way when I first completed it. But it's really grown on me. Yes, there are some issues with RNG and the camera, but the atmosphere is unmatched in any of the other levels. Each and every level feels varied and different from everything else in the game. And the music, my God, the music. This is some of my favorite music of all time. And it makes having to play these levels over and over again so much easier. It's the combination of level design and music that makes Pumpkin Hill one of my favorite Sonic levels of all time. Many people are critical about how the mech and treasure hunting levels slow down the game and take us away from the essence of Sonic. But I feel like these levels are the essence of Sonic. In the original 2D games, you could just run through them and be done quickly, but you wouldn't get to experience them to their full potential. Taking some time to explore these levels to find the fastest possible route and secure the Chaos Emeralds made those games some of my favorite of all time. And that same belief of exploration and then speed is seen in all of these level types here. The Sonic speed, the mech battles, and treasure hunting are all the essence of Sonic. Inherently speaking, since you have to play every single stage so many times, you will learn the ins and outs of every aspect of these levels, from the level layouts themselves, to the lines said from the characters, to even the specific moments in the music. It'll be ingrained in your body for fun, but also for the sake of difficult completion, as every level in the game requires 5 A ranks. This includes all of the mini kart racing, which, let's be honest, fun novelty, but not that well developed here. This also includes 3 different boss rush modes in which you have to defeat all of the hero bosses, then the dark bosses, then the hero and dark and secret bosses as one big gauntlet. Now, I would say that since I am a master at this game, none of these things were very difficult for me because I probably complete Sonic Adventure 2 battle once every other year. I genuinely like this game that much. And while I touched on a bunch of the complaints that people have about Sonic Adventure 2 from a glance looking in, there is one thing in this game that everyone loves, and that is the Chao Garden. People who hate Sonic Adventure 2 and people who love Sonic Adventure 2 all talk about how much fun it is to raise a Chao. But to me, the perspective of completing affects my feelings. If I were to raise a Chao casually, let's say, I would have a lot more fun picking what types of animals these guys would wear in order to look cute. But that does not constitute the experience required to win all of the emblems in the Chao portion of the game. With regards to completion criteria, in my opinion, when raising Chao, one should try and raise an all-S Chao to dominate the competition in terms of completion. And that aspect of the game is one that starts off fun, but becomes a time sink that eventually makes it a slog. Now hold on a second. I know a lot of you may be heated. I'm not saying that the Chao Garden is bad. Far from it. It is fun. It is much better than Sonic Adventure 1's Chao Garden. It's very fun at first. Your goal is to train an adorable little creature to dominate other Chaos in races and karate. And this time around, there's hero gardens, there's dark gardens, and there's even alliances your Chaos can make. You can determine the alignment if your Chao is a good Chao or an evil Chao. It's all in good fun. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle makes some wonderful additions to the Chao Garden, streamlining the black market more so you can buy more items more efficiently, and you can go to the Chao Doctor to learn the health status of your Chao, which includes what their dominant and recessive traits are. However, Chaos just don't simply level up. They give you 5 separate stats that you have to raise by either giving them drives or having them play with different animals. You obtain these by playing through the levels of the main game and defeating the enemies. The drives and the animals can help improve a Chao's stats, but how do you get one with all perfect S stats? To do that, you have to breed. No, not you, the Chaos. You take 2 Chaos, breed them together, and the resulting baby will have the highest rank from each parent in every one of the stats. Repeat this until you eventually raise the perfect Chao. Here is the issue. That's the thought on paper. When you look at the math and the investment time, the dominant and recessive traits, while they're still there in the leveling up process, is kind of RNG. You will spend a lot of time making Chaos breed, opening up the baby, checking it at the doctor, getting the stats, and then reset your game in hope that you get better stats for your Chao so that you don't waste your time or money trying to just repeat this process over and over again. This is the part of the game that took me over 60 hours last time, and during those 60 hours, it got really monotonous. So my goal this time was to get it done in less than half that time. And by taking advantage of the glitch that lets you use drives and animals infinitely, it only took me roughly 10 to 12 hours. Hell yeah, I was aiming for half and landed nearly on a 6th. let's go. But you know what? It was still boring to me. Yes, it was much shorter, but I was only doing one thing over and over again to try and make it go faster, which goes against what I said earlier. What made this entire process so much fun was the time I spent on Twitch streaming this process with you guys, joking around and helping me play God as I patiently save scummed my way to get the perfect chows I needed. Now, I think the main issue here is that I'm just not a huge fan of these kinds of games. If I'm going to raise something, I want to be able to do something with it afterwards, like Pokemon. With Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, you do get to use the Chao for competitions and karate fights. The real fun comes in from getting to enter these races and the karate matches I mentioned earlier. The races involve running, swimming, flying, and puzzle solving, while the karate matches are exactly what they sound like, fights between adorable creatures. Now, after hours of slaving away, perfectly manipulating and crafting, I made the ultimate Chao known as the game. This all-orange chaotic Chao is the perfect embodiment of Triple H. I knew he was going to bury the competition. However, you aren't in control of any of these moments. You decide what your Chao eats and how to raise it, but when it comes to the fun competitive part, it's all done automatically for you. And yeah, you can cheer on the side and do that whole thing, but it doesn't really feel like you're doing anything other than just giving drugs to your Chao. Not to mention the fact that you have to win so many races and battles. I spent almost nearly 3 hours just watching the game destroy the competition. It's fun to win in this way, don't get me wrong, but it collectively took me a ton of time just between loading screens and races themselves. I wish I got to take control of my sweet little champion, but I just got to watch him succeed from the sidelines. And while I was a proud parent, that's not why I picked up a Sonic the Hedgehog game, I guess. I think the reason why we accept this was because it was a big thing in Sonic Adventure 1, and they made it much better in Sonic Adventure 2. People have complained in the past the treasure hunting and mech stages really slow down the game, but I actually feel that way about the Chao Garden. Instead of running around at the speed of sound, I was sitting and watching while my Chows got to have all the fun. Chao raising is really awesome, but its in-depth approach has little rewards other than dominating the computer, which, let's be real, feels really good. Look, in the end, the Chao raising is not bad enough to affect my overall view of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. The main game is a blast from start to finish, even with the less polished gameplay elements of the treasure hunting and mech levels. And even though I felt that the Chao Garden stuff still took a little too long, I can totally understand why people enjoy it. This is a great game that is a ton of fun if you're willing to give it the time. The entire Chao raising process is so much fun, and if done properly in the future, could potentially be a cash cow for SEGA. Alright, so let's say you've done what I've done, right? You've beaten all the story modes, you've earned all the emblems, and your Chao has eviscerated all of the competition. What do you get for your entire journey? First of all, every time you complete all of the A ranks for a character, you earn an alternate costume for them in multiplayer mode. This tends to usually just be a cool future robot suit, but for Tails and Eggman, you get pretty cool color redesigns for their mechs. And although raising the perfect Chao gets you nothing in the end, it is worth it to help you easily dominate the competition to earn those extra emblems from the karate matches and the races. Because once you earn all of the emblems in the game, a question mark will appear in the main story map mode. Select it, and you will get to play a 3D version of the original Green Hill Zone. Not only that, but the music and sound effects are all taken straight from the original 2D games. This is an awesome blast of nostalgia and is exactly what games like this should be doing when it comes to completion bonuses, taking the old and mixing it with the new. Getting to play this level after finishing the races and karate matches with the Chows was actually a lifesaver. The game did not end on a low note for me. I raised the perfect Chao, I got all of the emblems, and I got this awesome level. It ended with me remembering why I love Sonic so much. Yes, he's not perfect, and he can definitely be annoying at times. But if you take the time to learn about him and spend time with him, you'll learn to love him. And I feel the exact same way about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. When I recompleted Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, there were roughly 12 deaths. Even though I've played this game a ton of times, I guess I'm not the perfect life form. 3 story modes cleared: Hero, Dark, and True Story. Wouldn't it have made more sense just to make Light and Dark or Hero and Villain? I digress. 155 A ranks achieved because I am a Sonic valedictorian and I strive for perfection. 180 emblems earned, not just through the main levels, but through kart racing, boss battles, Chao events, and everything else. 22 hours of total playtime, and one bop that will forever be stuck in my head at the end of time. And the question is it Live and Learn or Escape from the City? Because Live and Learn's my favorite, but Escape from the City is so freaking good. I don't know if I've made this very clear, but I freaking love Sonic Adventure 2. It's exciting, full of variety, and actual rewards that you're getting for getting stuff done. Not to mention the completion process is great. I hold this game near and dear to my heart, regardless of the upsetting amount of time that I originally spent invested in the Chao world. A lot of people love Chao, and I do love them, just not as much as everyone else does. So, with that in mind, guys, I still give this game my completionist rating of complete it.
Complete it!
Yeah.